Hi, welcome to A Part For You. This video tutorial is on how to strip your door on a WF series washing machine. It can be used on Ariston, Hotpoint and Indeset and some Creda machines. This will show you how to replace the door hinges, the door handle, the Pecker unit, the glass bowl and the inner and outer trim. And it will also show you how to reassemble it after. Right, the first thing that needs to be done is the machine needs to be disconnected from the electricity supply. And now we'll undo the door hinges, the 4 screws on the left hand side which you can see here. This will allow us to pull the hinges from the inside of the cabinet to remove the door, where we'll work on it on a worktop. Always make sure you've got one hand on the door while undoing the screws to support it. Now with a little bit of a jiggle you'll actually slide the hinges out. Just showing you in more detail from a different angle. There you go. Now we'll put this onto the worktop and we'll take you through a step-by-step guide on how to strip the door down. First thing we need to do is undo the screws that hold the inner and outer trim together. I've already taken these out for the speed of video, but you can see where all the screws live. Now, using 2 screwdrivers, we have to prise the inner part and the outer part of the door apart. Now this can be a little tricky as it has a tendency to want to close again, so just slowly working your way round. It's always useful to have another set of hands about when doing this, but can easily be done on your own. Now, once the door is split, you lift the inner panel up and this will allow you to slide the glass bowl out. But first thing we're going to do is remove the hinges, and they just slot in. So you don't need to go any further if you only want to replace the hinges. Right, when removing the glass bowl, remember the angle of the chamfer that you can see on the glass. It has a location lug on it which marks up to the inner panel, and also there's a location lug on the glass itself which you can see here. And there's the mark on the inner panel. If you have any marks on the glass at all, this has usually been down to imbalanced load, or you washing something in the appliance which has got a metal surface which can scuff the glass. You'll notice we're working on a cloth here to stop the actual outer door rim getting damaged or marked. Now we've got to separate the inner trim from the outer trim. The handle comes through the outer trim. It does take a bit of jiggling, but it will come off reasonably easy. Now we're ready to work on the Pecker unit and the door handle. This is a good time to take a couple of photographs of the pin and handle assembly. You'll notice my thumb resting here on the handle to hold it in place while removing the pin. So the pin's out the way. Now you can see the handle coming off with the spring and lever below. Again, you do need photographs to remember how this goes back together. It is one of the trickiest parts. When reassembling, you can see that the edges of the spring sit into a couple of retention holes. You could spend at least a few attempts getting this right to line all 3 parts up together. Now when the pin goes through the lever here, the hook on the lever faces outwards and the handle goes on, then the pin slots in. You will be very lucky if you achieve this on your first attempt. After 25 years, it still takes me a good couple of goes on many occasions. Once you've reassembled, take notice of how the spring sits on the back of the latch lever and make sure it's all working correctly. Now, when assembling the inner trim to the outer trim, the handle goes through the outer trim hole. Much easier to put back together than it was to take apart. Once you've got these both lined up, just double check your work and make sure that the pin and latch lever and the handle are all working correctly. Right, the next thing we'll do is slide the glass bowl in, remembering the angle as I discussed earlier. Now, you can't actually see the location lug, but you'll feel it locate onto its slot just by giving it a slight turn, and there we go. Now, the next thing we need to do is put the hinges on. Now, these can go on wrongly, so the easiest way of doing this is sitting them down facing the lever point towards the door and then slotting them into place. They just slide in and then back and then fold them over. And again with the other side, just slot them in and rotate them over. Now, when putting this trim back together, if you just push down all the way around, you'll feel it click into place, and then with your screwdriver just do them up just to hand tight. You don't want to strip any of the plastic threads. Then we're ready to put the door back onto the machine, again lining up the lugs here on the hinges so they slide in, and if you just lean the door back slightly, you should be able to get them into the position where you can put the screws back in, and then you'll be able to do the hinges up with the screws, again only hand tight. You don't want to strip the threads. Although we didn't have to replace any parts in this video, we sell all the parts on our website, so just use the search tool, put your model number in, and it will give you a full list of parts available. If you can't find the part that you're looking for, please don't hesitate to contact us, and one of our staff will be glad to help. And remember to shop at a part for you, as that's what keeps us going and able to make these videos for you. And also remember, at our website we have a video tutorial section with all videos for all types of repairs available to you free of charge. Thanks very much for watching.